Welcome back. Today, David Zaritsky of the Bond Experience is here to discuss a recent adventure. Consider this a part two, a little bit of fun, extending on our last visit to Rock Island Auction. And those who are listening should hear the word last because that doesn't mean final. It means that we will be back. James Bond will return. We will return. It all works very well that way. And so on that note, what I wanted to talk to David about was something that, he, in true licensed troubleshooter fashion, shot in and out of the auction.
Totally.
And I stuck around because I was hanging out to see Jack Carr for his book tour and all that. So I had a rainy Sunday that I was sitting at the Rock Island auction with a little bit of cash in the pocket, courtesy of the firm, trying to figure out what to do. And so I wanted to share with you what we actually won. And because this is we took these folks on an experience. And, I came into the Rock Island auction with the intent to win a Bond gun with you. So here we are.
It's amazing, too. And I remember, in the video that came out as a part one to your part two, I remember you walking around and you were deliberating right on camera. I mean, people have seen the video about, well, this could be a potential one that I jump into the auction. This could be a potential one. But I missed the drama of what happened when these potentials, these prospects that could be in the wonderful collection everyone sees behind you came up. Could you regale us a little bit with the story of, these sort of loves that were lost?
Yes, and that is what an auction is, by the way. It is truly love lost time and again, because it's gambling. You really only have the one time to throw it on the baccarat on the table or the roulette wheel or whatever you want to call it. Here I am mixing gambling metaphors on a Bond show. That's great. So it really became a gamble because I got to tell you, after my book made it out in the wild, I knew that the gun I wanted to track down more than anything was the one I spent some of the most time on, which was the Asp. I wanted the John Gardner gun. Now, here's the caveat. This is what caused a lot of the drama and consternation, whether it made it on a camera with you or not, was that there was one Asp, and it was at the very end of the third day. So that adds a lot of drama to things because you limit yourself pretty heavily if you're gambling. And I came into this and I said, I'm walking away with something. So that means that I have basically that. And plus maybe, I think it was like 15, 20 lots afterwards. And not a lot of them were really in my interest category or things. It would have been like I'm going to get something for the sake of actually getting something, but it's not going to be the thing.
Yeah.
And I'll kind of clue you in on why I thought the Asp was going to make sense, right? Because I think you and I kind of went through the gambling strategy here. Yeah. There was an Asp couched between two much harder to find versions of a similar custom gun called a Devel. Short and long, those were designed by a guy who got too tired of waiting for an Asp, and so he made a better version alongside Ken Hackathorn. Think like Yoda in the world of firearms, getting to help design something. Ken actually has one. Really cool stuff all around. But they never show up. They really end up being hidden in these very, very private collections. And so in my mind, it was, okay, you've got two Connery Seamasters, or not Seamasters, so again, mixing watch metaphors. You got two Connery Submariners sitting with an Omega right in the middle. Omega, very desirable, something you want. But hey, maybe the dollars are going to go to the wings, not the center. And so I waited with bated breath. It was the hardest thing. There was a Walther shotgun I really wanted, 16 gauge, beautifully hand engraved. And I got to tell you, it went really, really low. I could have walked away with two of those and I would have been satisfied. And I just kind of sat on it. I'm like, but I know I want the Asp. I'm seeing stuff go low. I'm like, maybe it'll happen. It was Mother's Day at dinner time that the Asp was going across the block too. So I really thought I was in the bee's knees situation. I'm sitting here. Everyone's going to be going to dinner. They're going to be spending time with their families, and I'm going to strike. And that did not happen in the slightest. The Asp went higher into space than James Bond and Moonraker, man. It went to the moon, right out of the gate. I think I waved my card once, flipped it up in the air, and then it just went. I think an Asp should go for $3,500, maybe $4,000, $8.5, $9, or something crazy that. Online bidder took it up to the moon, and I'm just sitting there, popped the card, and then just tucked it under the leg. And I'm like, all right, Back in the holster we go. I got to figure out what to do. And then the next lot came up, David. And then the next lot came up, which was one of the Devels. And the crazy part is, it did not start going to the moon. It ran pretty low, actually. And I'm sitting there and waiting for the last call. And I'll throw the video in here too when I'm done talking to you about this, because it was hilarious, this video of me bidding on it that my friend took. But I'm sitting there, I'm waiting, and I pop it. And miraculously, you know, I'll save the drama of that for the actual video portion of it. I win the gun. So I got the Devel with the holster, and, you know, because we always love accessories, 2 spare magazines.
Ooh.
So these are, I mean, these are worth their weight in gold anyway, because they're custom made for the gun. So they have the windows, they have the custom feet on them, like the shoes. So having 3 mags plus the gun is really cool. It would have had a mag carrier with it, but the one that it was designed wasn't that great. So I'm imagining it kind of found its way to a dumpster pile. But the holster, because it's a custom gun, you know, custom trigger guard and all that.
Yeah.
Really nice to have this. Actually, I designed this safari jacket with the intention of carrying with a holster like this, so I can actually make the whole set work. And then, you know, again, to hit that old, but wait, there's more. It's truly a Billy Mays moment here, David. This incredibly rare gun got even more rare after I won it. So I win it. It's a low serial number gun. I didn't know that. I'm just bidding on the gun because it's up on the block and no one else is bidding. It's serial number 5. So I'm like, oh, cool. It's a really low serial number gun. And then the original owner of the gun reaches out to our friend Matt from Rock Island Auction to let him know that this was his gun. And more than just being his, it was technically the first commercially built Devel, which is just crazy.
What?
Just crazy. So it was built, and the reason why it's...
How many of these were built to begin with?
Not that many. I don't think there's a definitive number, but it's in the hundreds, is my understanding.
Wow.
So it's a really low production, because this was a full-size gun at one point. Like, literally the middle of the slide was cut out, and the muzzle was re-welded on to create this shorter profile that you see here. The trigger guard is completely reworked. It has the ASP-style window mags with windowed out stocks, cut and beveled hammer there, reprofiled everything, little finger pocket there, custom sights. The trigger is insane. I mean, the whole gun is worked over. This is what would be considered, in terms of like the custom world, like a full shop gun, which makes sense because it's the first one. And furthermore, because I love lore and stuff like that, I got this in the mail just a little bit later. It's a letter from the owner of the original pistol telling its story. And I won't keep you guys too long talking about the breakdown of the letter itself, but in short, J.D. Jones, the original owner of this pistol, was building a firm called Devel back in the day, which made this really cool ammunition, high velocity stuff. It's very storied in the firearms industry. And at the time, he was using this pistol to develop their 9mm cartridges by hunting wild hogs in the mountains with this little compact 9mm. So it's crazy. Like, it makes no sense. And it's a really like heavy use, heavy abuse gun. And we'll get to what that means for me later. But so it has this real world story to it, where it was used, first of all, as one of the first guns ever built like this, first full house commercial style. Then it has a storied history being used to develop rounds that are really important in the firearms industry. And then it somehow ended up in my hands, and I'm going to carry and shoot it. And so it's really, really cool. Imagine this is like the top tier version of an ASP. It's what the ASP wants to be. And I love the ASP. I still am planning on getting one. But this is like, I went in to get just like your standard fare, and I walked out with the top of the line, which makes no sense. But that's what an auction's all about, man. You just don't know what's going to happen.
No.
And so here's the tragedy. Oh, and then the one more thing. J.D. Jones, I will get to this tragedy line in a second. J.D. was writing for big gun magazines back in the day. So this gun with this exact serial number is featured in like a 1979 issue of American Handgunner, which I have coming to the mail right now.
That was my next question is, please tell me you have a copy coming.
Tracked it down. You can see my gun with the serial number on the page. Teased on the front cover, big double spread with the gun on it. Super, super cool. So, you know, as a guy who loves, gun writing in general, right? I kind of have a shtick for that if you haven't noticed. Having a gun that is in an original magazine like that too is just really, really cool. So it's a storied gun. It's meant to be shot, but there is a caveat to what happened to JD that then happened to me. Okay. And that is, I pick up this gun. It's the guy that I work with is 5 minutes from my local range. I literally pick it up and run it straight to the range. Because again, this is a gun that's meant to be shot. It's not like it's built on anything super, super old. This is a gun from the 70s that was then.
And by the way, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah. Go for it, David.
For your viewers, but most people that buy these pieces of history at Rock Island Auction, because they really are pieces of history and artwork, do they then go out and shoot it, or it really is dependent on what they pick up?
It's very dependent on what you pick up for sure, right? Like you might pick up like a Revolutionary War musket and maybe you shoot it. Maybe if you are really into black powder and you know how to load it properly and you don't want to blow it up. Like there's some really rare stuff that gets shot over time. A couple of my friends actually I won't tease the video too much, but they shot a really cool historic pistol that has not probably been shot since it was first built. Which was kind of a gamble, but they knew what they were doing on load data and stuff, so it was safe. But typically, a lot of this stuff is kind of treated like fine art, and so it ends up behind a glass case or on a wall like this, and that's kind of where it lives. My pickups from Rock Island Auction include this Devel now. Directly above my head, you can see that revolver. That's a 1915 manufactured and issued Webley pistol that likely did service in like Egypt during World War I on a British soldier's hip with the original holster. And I shoot it. It's one of those things where I'm not like abusing it, but I'm shooting period correct ammunition with the correct pressurized cartridges because I don't want the history to just fade away. It should be used and it should be appreciated. Yeah. And as you might know, it's your whole shtick and your whole spiel is like, you have to experience it. You know, holding it's one thing, but like being able to write with authority because I actually got to use it is a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
So that's the little spiel on that. But so I take it out to the range. I shoot the correct loads through it. And unfortunately, we'll see if you can see that in camera. Oh, yeah, you can. That nice little crack formed right there on the weld line. Now, when this trigger guard was installed, let me see. I think I have a pin here to kind of like explain. Yeah. Look at that. Parker Jotter in the back, always at the ready. It was installed by cutting it here and here, and then re-welding it on with this trigger hook in the same way that the front of the slide, like I said, we'll just pause really quick.
No. I put you on.
Tracking.
Focus.
Sorry. I was like, whoa, I lost my boy. This is why we do it live, friends. The middle third of the slide cut out and then welded in there to recreate the muzzle. Now, this gets back to the JD's letter. I did not know this story until I already shot the gun, and you live and learn. Apparently, Charlie Kelsey, the gentleman who designed the Devel, he was welding this back in the 70s. His welds weren't as strong as they could be. And so one time while JD is hunting, he shoots the gun and he loses while a wild boar is charging him. The front third of his slide just completely launches itself off the gun. Thankfully, he took it down. He said the last shot actually took it out, but it had to go back to Kelsey to be re-welded and rebuilt. Now, what that probably means is these welds here holding the trigger guard in place are very likely, again, right here where that broke, nice, clean, straight line, and here are probably also not the most ideal. They probably are not as strong as they could have been. And so under light pressure, I was shooting it the way it was meant to be shot, which was you wrap, this is very old school, very 70s, 80s, something that you don't see anymore. You wrap your finger here and you press out like that for control or whatever. Not really a thing you see happen anymore, but I wanted to try it since this gun has it like this. And my friend was actually, Eli was out shooting with Ken Hackathorn with serial number 1, one of the prototype versions. And he was like, dude, it actually works really well with just this gun. You should try it. And so I get done shooting and I notice the crack form. Thankfully, I'm very good friends with the very talented gunsmiths. We're going to pull the finish off of this select area. We're going to re-weld that. And honestly, while we're after it, we'll probably just cut it where the original weld was and re-solidify that there to prevent that from happening again. This gun, like I mentioned, was shooting incredibly high pressure loads during the 1970s. This is an aluminum frame too, so it's a less than ideal material for what it was being done to, with heavy customizations and very thin aluminum on the trigger guard. Thankfully, modern TIG welding will be able to clean that up and get it solidified. But this is a really, really cool piece of firearms history, very custom. It's my first full custom gun, so it's really cool to have it. Really cool that it has a bond connection. Really cool that we got to, halfway. It's funny. You actually held this gun. I showed it to you. I was just like,
you can see it in the video. That my part one video. You pointed out. In fact, I pointed it out because I think I had asked you, and you could tell people here.
Yeah.
What is that red on there? Is it just decorative? Like, what is that?
Yeah. So you've got the little Devel logoing, good branding right there on the stocks. And then also they have like an enamel painted, I think it's enamel or something to that effect, painted front sight on the ramp there. It's a really cool ramped front sight with an adjustable rear. Really great sight picture. It's a really fun shooter, really accurate, great trigger and all that. But yeah, it's a very cool design pistol. It's electroless nickel on the finish there. So it's a really durable, really strong finish. It'll be tricky to kind of remove it from there, but my friend Drew is a very talented individual and he's going to make that magic happen.
Yes, he is.
So, there's plenty of stuff down the pipeline with Drew that we'll get to for sure, but just know that I've got wizards and I've got talented gunsmiths who can take care of. So we'll take care of the prep. We'll send it out for welding. We'll bring it back. We'll retouch the finish up a little bit. And then I will have a piece of functional history in the holster from the Rock Island Auction Company. So, it's cool to take you guys through this. We got to see the first part. You got to kind of see and experience the auction itself. I wanted to take you through this journey with David, and then kind of like, I guess, close, aside from me and David rambling, I'll tack on to the end of this video, me actually winning the gun, and you can experience it through my eyes. And my wife, you look for the moment. I sent it to my wife, who I had not had a chance to call or let know anything had happened. And she laughed. She's like, I can see the exact moment where you decided to ask for forgiveness rather than permission and just double down. Because the gun went above my ceiling of where I was planning to go for that trip, and where I had kind of discussed, when you're married to an accountant, you come up with plans and you execute pretty cleanly on that plan. And that's not just an adage. She is a CPA. So it's like, I come very prepared, very planned. And she's like, I saw your eyes go, you know what, this is going to have to happen. And we popped over the finish line, and you'll see in the video or whatever, but it made sense. I was justified in my actions, David, because right when I was bidding at the $5,000 mark, which is where I was debating on going over,
right,
the bids go from $250 a piece to $5,000. So I was on the right foot, according to the nice Englishman who was taking my money, who was correct, that if I gambled, the next gamble would have to be double what we were gambling previously. And so I didn't blink, and the gentleman who was bidding against me did, and that's how I ended up with a crazy storied gun, which, again, you don't know what you're going to win, because now I have this letter. I reached out to the Smith & Wesson Historical Society. I have the original factory invoice now of when it was shipped to a local gun shop before it was converted, and I now have this original article in which the gun is featured.
Now, it's like your story was this big and you were excited, and then it just grew and grew. And I have to ask you about a particular rumor of whether you can confirm or deny a rumor that I have heard. But is it true that on June 27th, Caleb and David will be back at Rock Island Auction for the American auction, and that we're asking Bond fans everywhere and aficionados of gun and weapon history to join us? Is this true?
I do believe we can confirm such a rumor. Please descend upon Dallas, Texas, Bedford in technicality. It's like 10 minutes from the DFW airport. David can attest. We got picked up by an Uber, zipped right there, dropped off. It's a one-night affair, the America 250 auction. It's super cool. There will be 150 lots, incredibly historic pieces. Everything is super well documented. There's pieces of espionage history. We're talking stuff that's spanning the Revolutionary War period through GWAT. There's a table there that's built from a tree that Theodore Roosevelt planted at Sagamore Hill. Like, you want to talk about just like niche little American history things like that, or an OSS issued Colt 1903 that was carried by a gentleman who was on the mission that inspired Inglourious Basterds.
Unbelievable.
Like, yeah, and it's crazy.
The other thing I have to mention, 2 p.m., they're going to have an open bar. So
Yes.
we'll saddle up to it, and they're going to have some authentic Texas barbecue
Yes,
that's
there
going
is.
to be served. So how do people get involved with that? Do they get in touch? Do they show up? What can they do?
Yeah, you can land directly at Rock Island's doors and just day of, and they're happy to take your money at the door if you're so inclined. And you can just show up, or you can pre-register for the auction as either a visitor or a bidder. I will not be bidding at this show. It's some pretty high caliber stuff. I will be there to enjoy the history. This is a Rock Island, as you saw in the previous video, is a museum that you get to touch and be inspired by and engage with in very serious, real, and tactile ways. And we are going to take that even further with the America 250. I know the guys there are really excited about it. They spent a lot of time curating this. So it's very thoughtfully curated. It's going to be a really fun evening. You mentioned the bar. I got to say, I got to sample it. You and I didn't get to sample it, but there is a Rock Island Auction Company whiskey that they have built out for themselves, and it is delightful.
Yes, please.
I had a sip of that celebrating the Devel win as the evening was closing on Sunday, and we were being shepherded out because they're like, we are literally closing this place. We've been doing this for 5 straight days. Please leave. And I was just over here handling this, putting it back, and throwing back some whiskey with a friend. So, we will have a great time. I sincerely hope that you guys come out. David and I are really excited to be hanging out at the bar. We'll have some proper shenanigans. I hope to be able to Sherpa you through some of the history. I've got the physical book somewhere floating on this desk of books that I will be going through in great detail prior to the auction, because I want to be there to help you experience and see the history and the pieces that you want it to see before they disappear into a private collection or to a museum.
Yeah, you couldn't ask for a better, we call it Sherpa, but tour guide. Caleb, this is part of what we want to do in conjunction with Rock Island Auction, is to really create social moments around this that grow. Certainly the first foray that thanks to Caleb, I was a part of, that you've seen in my video. This is a part 2. June will be another part. And then who knows, maybe this will grow into a full-fledged
sky's the limit, right?
Adderall.
Yeah. And what I want to say while we dare to dream is I really want to encourage folks that are firearms curious or maybe like quasi interested in this world to take the leap of faith with this one. Because it's a very welcoming place. I hope that came across well in the video with me and David kind of experiencing it together. But it's the kind of place that you can just show up and appreciate and enjoy and not feel like you're out of place at. And the Rock Island team does a great job with that. I make sure that you feel that way as well. I want it to be the kind of place where you get to experience stories and feel these things and not feel like you have to be somebody like me with a wall like this. You have a wall like David's perhaps, and feel just as excited and welcomed and part of the moment as someone like me who's like very, very esoterically excited about the front sight on a very particular pistol or whatever. Like there is room for everybody, and that's really part of the fun. So we're going to sit down, we're going to enjoy some beverages, and we're going to watch history just roll across the block. Kevin Hogan, I want to give him a massive shout out. Him and his amazing team of auctioneers are going to put on an excellent show. They're going to talk about the history as it goes across the block. We're going to be cheering while people win. It's going to be a ton of fun, and I just hope to see you there.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, David, for joining me. Since I got to join you, it's always fun to, double dip, as you were. And I am excited. Perhaps you won't see this in the holster because it needs to be a little loved and repaired, like we mentioned. But we'll have to have some fun. We'll go through what we got on us, perhaps, when we're back at Rock Island. But I hope to see you guys at the end of the month. This will be posting in early June, so the 27th. See you there. Feel free to reach me on my DMs or whatnot if you have any additional questions. I'm happy to send you whatever you might need.
And stay for his video because it's fascinating. Let's see it.
It's a good end result. Let's watch.
522, that 3663, Smith, 39-2, Devel, add 30 to 13.35, 30 now 35, 35, 30 now 35, 35 now 37, 35 to 37, 37, 35 to 37 now 4, 35,
wait until last call.
Now 4, committee 4, bit 4, 37 now 4, 4 now 42, 4 now 42, what do we say, 4 5, it's got to be 42 and a half, now Anthony Becky at 45, 42 now 45. 4250 now 45. Manny, it's going to be 4,500 now. Been live at 42. What do we say? Phones are up. Yes or no? In or out at 4,500. Last call. 45. Now 4750. Here we go. An opportunist. 45 and 4750. 45 and 4750. Are we all through? All done. Last call. Fair warning at 47. 40, 17 down 5. Back to you at 5. 40, 17 down 5. With the battle post got to be at 5. 40, 17 down 5. Gives you 5. You're on the right foot. You go 5. He's got to go 55. 40, 17 down 5. I'll make sure at 5,000. And he advances at 5,000. You're on the right foot. Through here. You go 5. He's got 5,000 down 55. That's over his head. 5 down 55. It's on the floor against him. 5 down 55. Through 55. Let's hit 55. We all through all the message on fair morning at 5,500. Sold 5,000. Bidder 26. 43. 26. 43.
We'll take it. We'll take it.